coming to light, Carol Ann. There's peace and serenity in the light. I can't believe that movie came out in 1982. I was practically a young child back then. No, I wasn't. How old was I in 1982? 13, 14, something like that. I was just discovering that I was Bear Queen back then. Yeah, I'm out here filming on the Grangler patio overlooking overlooking beautiful Muskogee Lake. Oh my God! I think I showed y'all. Let's take this up a little bit and show you. So, right down there. I hope I don't drop the phone. Would you die? That's where they disappear. These people walk in the interdimensional forest down there, and to the interdimensional trail. See, y'all think I'm making this stuff up, and I'm not making it up. I just don't get it. It's a shortcut. There's a trail. I told y'all about this trail through town, right? It runs like, I want to say 3 or 4 miles through Muskogee. And it's all through a wooded area. I think it used to be an old railway, train track or something. I don't know. I don't want to know. You know, that's where the hoobie-jeebies hang out, and I don't want to hang out with them. Oh, God only knows. Can you imagine going down there at night? I see people go down there at night. You know, on their way to the river club. Anyway, what was I going to talk about today? I told my friend, Resting Witchface, I would talk about, you know, the paranormal stuff that went on at my old house. Where do I begin? Should I begin at the beginning? So, okay, this was in Forest Park, which is a suburb of Oklahoma City, northeast part of town, heavily wooded, and backstory about this area. It used to be a campground for Indian tribes. They were passing through, I guess, on their way to hunt buffalo or something. But they would camp in this area because of the natural springs that would come up. You know, there was one that fed Cody's Pond, you know, just around where I lived at Mother's old house. Anyway, I grew up there, and my mother had a friend. Her name was Elise Higgins. And she was like, you know, 87,000 years old. She went, what year was this? I think this was 2004, maybe. I think it was 2004. Her son talked her into moving to Plano, Texas. And Mother told me all about it. She said, well, she'll just sell the house and if you want to buy it. And this house was, you know, it was built in 1952, and her and Eddie lived there forever, and they raised a kid. And, you know, it seemed like a suburban dream, which turned into, what the fuck is that? See, the interdimensionals don't want me to talk about it. Watch, there'll be stuff happening on while I'm filming this. I think the story should be broken up in like part 1. Let's do 3 parts to this, because this is a long story, and I know all of you have the attention span of gnats. You know, I'm going to get t-shirts that say that. Attention span of gnats. Like I won't talk about it here. We're supposed to be talking about weddings and psychotic animals. We can't talk about steel magnolias either. Okay, anyway, back to the story. So I end up buying this property, and it wasn't a very big house, but it had this huge I want to say it was a party room or something they built in the 60s. It was huge. So I bought the property, and it was 3.5 acres. It had a huge wooded area on one side and a creek that ran through it, and it at the time I thought, I was with who, and I thought, well, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get married and move to the suburbs and buy a house and live happily ever after. Well, apparently that didn't happen. So, and I found out, who, I can't say his name. He resented all this from the beginning. I later found out he did not want me to buy that house, and I renovated it, and then Mark, a friend of mine, renovated or reconstructed basically that party room into a master bedroom suite with another bath. Let's see, what did I have? Another bath, huge closet, and like a laundry room. And then the garage, you came in through the garage and you were in this little vestibule, and I don't know what I was thinking. I thought, I'd just gotten out of school, graduated with a degree in interior design, and I thought I could flip this house after, God rest her soul, Elise passed away. That was the plan. So, this was my first house, and I just went a little crazy on everything with the credit cards. I kept buying stuff. I don't know how many of these bricks I bought, these concrete bricks that you could make into patios, because I had like 3 patios. I think I told you all about that. So I think the first one I built was the front, what did I call it? The front patio, by the front door. I had everything. I had a big pond and water lilies and all this stuff, and who thought it was nuts, but I didn't care. I was having fun. I was spending money. A lot of money. And then the outdoor room, oh my God, that was huge. I had a pond. I had a circular pond, and then I had a dining area with a grill, and then I had a living area, and all this stuff. It was crazy. And then it gets better. And then I had the forest pavilion, which I found this, and this gets into the haunted stuff. The forest behind the house, or on the side of the house, I found this fireplace. And I thought, why would you have this fireplace out in the middle of this forest? And I think Mother said that Eddie would burn trash out there or something. I think that's what they did back in the 50s and 60s. I don't know. Well, I made that, what did I call it? The Rainbow Bright Forest Pavilion or something. And I was horrible. I would go back there in the evening and have my cocktails. I'm lucky I'm still alive, because I probably would have just burned up out there. One time, and maybe I should conclude the story with this. I think I will, because I think y'all are getting bored telling this story. I'll have to have a part 1, part 2, and part 3. So one night I had a big fire going. It was like February, roaring fire in that outdoor fireplace. And I was burning trash in it, and I didn't realize it, but there was a can of hairspray in this trash, in this Walmart sack, right? I threw it in the trash, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought I was admiring the evening, and I liked it that it was cold, but the fire was roaring, and I was sipping on my cocktails, and all of a sudden, boom! Look, and girl, I fell out of my chair. Bear Queen fell out of his chair onto the ground, trying to figure out what happened. About half lit too. So anyway, that area and I'll conclude with this, was where the haunting, I think, began, where I first noticed the orbs moving around. I had a digital camera, one of the first, and I don't have the pictures, but I filmed them, and I called them sprites. So it started innocently, but it always does when you have a haunting or stuff like that. It was so slow. It was almost like the entity, and I'll call it what it is, and I think I've said it before, it was never alive. It was never human. It's something that stays in one spot. So, elemental. That's what it was. I remembered it. See, I've recovered, sort of. That I remember that word. That was its domain. How long it had been there, I don't know. I don't know what was going on there since they built the house in I think it was built in 1956. And I just don't know. There's just you would think something that peaceful and tranquil and a dream come true, the property, and I'm telling you, you just don't know. When people buy these houses, you know, especially out that have been abandoned and all this stuff, I'm telling you, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for the interdimensional beings to come play tiddlywinks with you. And I'm telling you right now, Bear Queen doesn't want to play tiddlywinks. So in conclusion, and we'll do a part 2, keep your wigs on straight and don't throw anyone under the bus unless they want to play tiddlywinks with the interdimensional entities. Not a good idea. Bye-bye.